Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 7th, 2016 City of Oldsmar City Council meeting to order. If you'll please rise for our invocation and our pledge. They'll be led by our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Our Heavenly Father, none of us lives for or because of ourselves. We live as a part of a community. Help us to work together to build a community that sustains and enhances life. May those of us who have been selected as leaders within our city remain open to your wisdom. Remind us that common sense and worldly wisdom we have been taught sometimes need to be set aside in favor of a holy wisdom, a new way, a different path. In the discussions that take place this evening, open our hearts and minds to sense the wisdom that you have to share. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and once again, welcome. It's hard to believe we're already into June. You'll be Christmas shopping before you know it, I think. Our first item is the Citizens Open Forum. It allows you to address the council. We only have a couple of rules: that you state your name and address clearly for the record, keep it to no more than 5 minutes, and you can speak towards anything on the agenda tonight. We do have one public hearing. If you're speaking on that, we ask you wait until we get to that item on the agenda. Having said that, we'll start on this side of the room. Anybody on this side of the room like to address? Yep, Tony. Behind you first, sorry. You're right in line, but go ahead, Tony.
A little prop. My name is Tony Gross, 711 Satin-Leaf Avenue. When I think about my community and all of the care, love, and concern that has been shown Craig and me since Frank's death while serving in Afghanistan, I'm overwhelmed. Truly, Frank's memory lives on and is vividly displayed throughout Oldsmar. For example, coming here tonight and walking up the steps, we saw that beautiful picture out in the hall. Craig saluted it, as he usually does, and we got our pictures taken in front of it. Not far from here in Oldsmar's Public Library, also there's a memorial photo of Frank in the teenage section. In August 2011, right before Frank's funeral in Arlington on his 26th birthday, Craig and I were honored with this City of Oldsmar Patriot Award. And at Oldsmar's Canal Park, baseball field number 3 is named in Frank's memory, as well as a bench. Then at Oldsmar's Veterans Memorial Park, there at the entrance is a fallen soldier's battlefield cross. Eagle Scout Johnny Ruckart and I planned it and worked on it together. Frank is also honored with a beautifully engraved park bench there as well. Last but not least, standing here, I am proud to have monetarily given towards and helped design the Purple Heart flag that we see up there. It's a great way of honoring our Purple Heart veterans, both alive and those who died in combat theater. Last week, Craig and I attended Oldsmar's Memorial Day service. Memorial Day defined is a day to remember and revere the war dead, those who died in battle. A day to remember those who gave their lives in defense of our nation. Our son, United States Army Corporal Frank R. Gross, gave his life. Mayor Doug Beavis got it right when he stated during his Memorial Day speech, if you know a Gold Star family, talk to them, ask them about their fallen, and listen to them. We, along with every family of the fallen, do like to talk about the service and sacrifice of our sons and daughters, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, and want to hear their names and memory honored and remembered as they should be. Governor Scott, who agrees with Mayor Beavis. And in front of you, you should have a copy of the governor's proclamation. Stated in Governor Scott's 2016 Memorial Day resolution in his 7th whereas, on Memorial Day, as throughout the year, we honor and pray for our Gold Star families and show our respect for the sacrifices their family members in uniform made to the perpetuation of American freedom. Following Oldsmar's May 17th City Council meeting, I asked Councilmember Jared Beaverland if I could speak at the Memorial Day ceremony. Remember that? Jerry said yes. Thank you. I believe that this is the only reason why Frank's name was mentioned during Oldsmar's Memorial Day ceremony, because I asked Jerry if I could speak, and Jerry honored that. I hope I'm wrong. I stand before you and ask, is there a rule or regulation that prohibits a local hero's name from being used, from being remembered, from being honored during a Memorial Day ceremony at Oldsmar's Veterans Memorial Park? A rule that would prohibit that soldier's family from hearing his name spoken. I would like to propose that at all future Memorial Day ceremonies at Oldsmar's Veterans Memorial Park, that Craig and I, or a member of Oldsmar's Veterans Advisory Board or City Council, please ask the families of the fallen, Gold Star families, to stand and be recognized, and the name of their fallen to be read out loud, or for that family to be given the honor of saying their loved one's name. For then the meaning of Memorial Day would have been satisfied. And I do hope to speak before the Veterans Advisory Board meeting. I think it's been changed to July the 11th at 4 o'clock. So I hope and pray that you'll consider my request, and I know it'll have to go before Veterans Advisory Board.
Thank you.
So is there a rule or regulation that would keep?
There's no rule.
Okay, thank you. So
Thank you.
Plan B is, or my question is, would you consider that there be given time sometime during the...
And I think that's something that you guys will probably discuss with the veterans, really trying to kind of let them
Right.
set the pace. I don't think it's an unreasonable request from you, but ultimately we make the decision, but we're
Right.
trying to give them the freedom to
Right.
do and set the theme for
Right.
the event. So
Right, and it would only take 2 minutes if that was inserted, like right underneath recognition of the dignitaries, recognition of Gold Star families, have them stand up, say their names, or have them honored in some way.
I think it'd be a beautiful thing to add that
Yeah,
as
and
a tradition in there that is just automatic.
yeah, and I think our events continue to get better, and we continue to change. I think they've only been doing it 2 years or so. So I think the more that we can do. I got lots of great feedback that overall it was a great service, but you make some interesting points. So I'm sure they'll take it up and consider that. So
Thank you. And I do apologize. I cried. I had a meltdown, but it's because Memorial Day means so much to us, and I love my community.
yeah,
So,
and we always
Dan and
appreciate.
Eric.
Yeah.
thank you. And Jerry, I want to thank you personally. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On this side of the room.
Not sure why I gave this to Good evening. My name is Chris Brockett. I live at 1909 Pepper Tree Drive here in Oldsmar. I'm here to ask you tonight for speed bumps to be placed onto our road. Pepper Tree is the main street going from one side of the neighborhood to the other. Located on just south of Tampa Road, Curley Road. We have signed a petition by all the neighbors that I just handed to her. They're in favor of the speed bumps being placed onto our road. We have several reasons that we're asking for them to be placed. The speed limit on the road is 25 miles an hour, but there is an S-curve on the road and nobody seems to follow the posted speed limit. We've got a little yellow sign of 15 mile an hour. but it seems that, cars are going way too fast through there. I have 2 young boys that love to play outside, and they can't play out in their own front yard in fear of being ran over by a car. There's been several near misses of cars running over kids and adults out just walking along the sidewalks. In the last year and a half, 3 different families, including mine, have moved into this neighborhood with young kids of ages 2, 4, 5, 7, and 10. All families live right on this S-curve where everybody flies through there. 9 years ago, there was a little girl killed on the road. I don't know the story. We just moved in a year ago. My neighbor directly across the street from me has replaced her mailbox several times over just last year. Every other day, somebody goes into her yard, either due to driving too fast or trying to avoid a car that is going fast from the other way. There's a specific instance where a driver was going too fast, went off the road, hit the mailbox, narrowly avoided hitting a lady who was walking her dog, then went across the street, took out a street sign before continuing on her way without a care in the world. There's been street signs that were hit and taken out, trash cans have been hit, near misses of head-on collisions, rear-end collisions. We just had one yesterday. I was out washing the car and 2 cars just about rear-ended each other. Cars are going too fast across the center line and having near misses. There's 2 stoplights on Curly Road that people are trying to avoid instead of sitting at the stoplights. They drive down the street at a high rate of speed to avoid the stoplights. There was a traffic study done by the City of Oldsmar Traffic Division, which resulted in them telling us there is nothing they can do, except to have the Sheriff's Department monitor the speed of drivers for 6 months and then report back after that, see what they find. That won't help us to allow the kids to play outside, for 6 months. We were told since it was a main thoroughfare, speed bumps could not be placed. The neighborhood next to us has speed bumps and on the main thoroughfare and has minimal traffic going through their neighborhood. There's nothing different from that neighborhood to ours. So in closing, all the neighbors on Pepper Tree are wanting speed bumps to be placed just to slow cars down. We want to take our street back to being a family-friendly neighborhood. We don't want to feel like a prisoner in our own house because other people won't slow down in our neighborhood. We want to be able to let the kids play outside again, and for adults that are walking their pets to be able to feel safe walking down the sidewalk, not have to worry about being hit by a car. So, that's it.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure. What's the procedure for that? I know we've addressed this in other communities before, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Based on the last study we did, what you mentioned, it doesn't meet the criteria for speed bumps. We're still evaluating signage on Pepper Tree, so that might be something that has an impact.
I was under the impression that if the majority of neighbors on the street.
That's right. We made that, we did that years ago, that if the majority, in fact, you did it in East Lake Oaks, and we've done it everywhere else, that if the majority of the people living on the streets signed a petition, we would put speed bumps there. And that's the policy that we've always followed.
Well, that's still in place. I mean, we can go back and look at that.
Let me tell you, Pepper Tree is a dangerous street. Yeah. It's got that S-curve. I was here when I was on council when the little girl got killed. And if you go down there, people are trying to get onto Curly Road that way. And they do speed. And they do take that S-curve, and you don't know what's happening. And we've always put it on the council agenda and voted on it if the majority of the people on that street signed a petition. And I suggest we put it on the next.
What would be the reasoning not to put a speed bump? I mean, if it doesn't meet the criteria, I mean, what would be the negative side of putting a speed bump?
I think what he's referencing is the study actually is one that the study indicates that it would be needed, but I guess then what we're saying is we superseded that with the policy that allows.
Yeah. I suggest we put it on the next agenda and vote on it.
I agree.
Well, East Lake Oaks got them because of
Whether or not that meets your own policy?
In that particular, no, in that particular, when did that policy come into effect? The policy.
Around for years, been in place for years.
The policy, when I was mayor, the policy all the time I've been on council, we've told everybody that if you bring in the majority of the people that live on that street, and I can give you streets, Oakleaf, they did that.
Okay.
In
Split Fork.
Split
They did it
Fork.
on Split Fork
Right.
during the construction of Tampa Road because the people didn't want to go through Tampa Road, so they were flying down.
Anybody that has come in here with a petition, as long as I've been on council, with the majority of the people on that street,
Okay.
the council has voted on it.
I have a question in regards to studies. Were studies done on all these other ones, like Split Fork, or did they just,
I think so.
did they? Okay. I mean, I don't mind putting it on there and finding out what the study says, and if, and then
I don't
if council
know.
still decides to put it on, go forward, then,
Well, Bruce may know more about this than I do, but I have never heard of a study on. In fact, the matter is, when Split Fork was asked, they came in here, we put it on the next agenda, and we voted on it.
We didn't have that policy adopted when Split Fork or East Lake Oaks was done. There wasn't a policy in place.
I still maintain that if the people, they just did it with Oakwood not too long ago.
okay. I mean, why don't we review our policy and see what it says, and,
I
Let's
just
review our policy. If the policy doesn't exist, maybe it's the pleasure of this council to create the
right.
policy.
I think we need to at least hear what our
Yeah, I
policy
thought we
is.
had the policy
Well,
there
I think
because
the question is, does this request comply with the policy? And I don't know the answer to that tonight. but
you don't
that
know
would
the
be-
policy?
Yeah.
Not in my.
I thought
in
you
my
were
head,
the
no.
city manager.
I would like to hear the policy before we just,
extraordinaire.
I'd rather hear the policy before we just jump.
That's fine.
I also think it's a moral conscience before policy. I mean, say another child gets killed
Sure.
on that road and we thought, oh, well, it was against policy to have a speed bump there. I personally couldn't sleep well with that at night, so I think.
Did you turn in signed petition? Is that what you?
Yeah,
She just gave it to
she's
her.
got it over there.
We have those, and I think at the next meeting, we can make a decision. I think we should hear the policy and see if it
maybe-
does or if it doesn't.
I put it on the next meeting. That's fine.
We'll review the policy, and if
go.
we feel it doesn't, I agree. As a kid that was hit by a car at 5 years old by about 40 miles an hour, landed on my head, which explains a lot. I'm about safety, so.
Do we need to make a motion to put it on the agenda?
I don't think
No?
so. No.
Okay.
Good?
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks.
All good.
Anybody else on this side of the room? Yeah. Yeah, if you're fine with, let's go, yep, okay. Anybody else on this side of the room? Anybody on this side of the room like to address the council? All those people and nobody wants to talk to us? Oh, hello.
Hello, my name is Hala Essenmacher. I actually no longer live in Oldsmar, but I lived here for 4 years during high school. I lived on Shore Drive East, right along the bay. One of my favorite things about Oldsmar has always been how horse-friendly it is. It's very hard to find something like that in this area, especially because it's so urban. So living here really allowed me to connect with the horses, and it's always been a passion of mine, so that was something I've just always enjoyed. And I heard recently from a neighbor that you're no longer allowing the horse trails to go through, and I feel like that it's missing out for a lot of people who may be moving in here or haven't had the opportunity to do so. If I hadn't lived here and gone on a trail one day, I don't think I would have ever, I wouldn't have never been so inspired. It actually really ignited a passion in me for horses. And now I'm actually going to college in Rutgers University, which is up in New Jersey, and I'm on the equestrian team, and it's actually, since I got so much experience here, I was able to apply for a job on mounted patrol, and I now get to patrol a horse pack on my campus and help keep people safe like that. And it's just, I would like you to just at least consider maybe finding some way for people to keep that going here, because it's just so rare, and I feel like it's a great opportunity for the residents of Oldsmar.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side of the room? Anybody else in the room that I missed? Oh, so, yep.
Hi, my name is Jason Carroll, and I also no longer live in Oldsmar. I currently live in New York City, but I grew up here, and I also have a passion for horses. I rode competitively for 10 years of my life around Oldsmar, and I rode at several different stables around Florida, but nothing has really felt like home like the horse community in Oldsmar, and I don't see why we cannot allow children to have the same opportunities as I have growing up. Horses have taught me discipline, hard work, and they've inspired me so much. A lot of my work comes through horses. I'm currently a dancer living in New York City, and I'm working here, and I was inspired. It taught me hard work to chase my dreams always, and I believe that without horses I would not be where I am. I wouldn't have the drive to do so. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room like to address the council? Seeing no one, I'll close the citizens' open forum. Briefly, I'll do the mayor's minute. Quite a few things happening. Several of the council members and city manager attended the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office annual award ceremony, honoring many of those during their annual ceremony, so that was great. Our council planning conference was a great success, planning our 2016-2017 plans moving forward. Oldsmar Elementary Appreciation Lunch, I was able to attend that. It was nice to see those guys that volunteer, also to see the butterfly garden, the wall murals created as part of a partnership with Oldsmar Elementary and the city of Oldsmar. We all got to attend, with the exclusion of Councilmember Beaverland, the zip line soft open. Was honored to be the first Oldsmarite to experience Empower Adventure zip line along with the council, Bruce and Ann. So that was great. If you haven't gotten to do it yet, make sure that you look ahead. zipontampabay.com, I believe you can schedule it. We Mean Business, we attended Dolphin Ice and Water, Brycoat, Pernique, and Oldsmar Public Library. Those are great. We always try and visit three different companies in the city of Oldsmar every month and find out the good, the bad, and the ugly of why they're here. A beautiful Memorial Day service honoring our veterans, put on by our Veterans Advisory Board and Leisure Services for the wonderful and moving Memorial Day ceremony, remembering friends and family we lost as they protected our very freedoms. We continue to make that better. The zipline ribbon cutting was great and had a great attendance. Gus Bilirakis was there, Commissioner Eggers, Jen Carlisle from the TDC, Representative Chris Sprawls, Empower Adventure staff. And just so you know, Oldsmar residents, by mentioning that you're an Oldsmar resident, get 10% off your entire transaction. You just need to mention their address when placing their order and probably bring something in, I'm guessing, that indicates that, driver's license or a water bill that shows that. Today I was honored to be one of the guest speakers at the 5th grade ceremony for Forest Lakes Elementary, and I told those kids that yes, once I was a 5th grader and now I'm the mayor of a city, so many things can be possible. So I said if my mom was there in 5th grade and I said that I was going to be mayor, she'd have fell out of the chair. So upcoming events tomorrow morning at 7:30 to 9, Eve's Family Restaurant. We encourage residents and businesses to get together and talk with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, find out the latest things that are going on in the city of Oldsmar, how to be safe. We're heading into summer, so it's great to attend that. That's 7:30 to 9 at Eve's. It used to be at Daddy's Grill. We've moved that. Also want to acknowledge one of our council members, Dan Saraki. He was appointed to the Suncoast League of Cities advocacy team, so congratulations. Also, Ann Nixon and myself were appointed to be secretary treasurers for the Mayor's Council for Pinellas County Mayors. So we look forward to doing that for the following year. So congratulations to Dan as well. That wraps up the Mayor's Minute. First item on the agenda is our Community Redevelopment Agency. First item is approve the lease renewal for Beamworks, 510 St. Petersburg Drive East. Any background on that?
Briefly, Mayor, thank you. This is a renewal of an existing lease. It's for a 3-year period. There's an increase in the rent. The lease also has a provision. The rent is adjusted annually based on the change in the consumer price index. Those are basically the only revisions to the existing lease. The term is for another 3-year period and adjusting the rent. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond to those. I recommend approval of the lease renewal with Beamworks Incorporated.
And for those that don't know, Beamworks is the company that provides sound not only for the city of Oldsmar, the majority of our events, but events around the world. So it's great to have them right here in the city of Oldsmar. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. 5-0, thank you. Next item is approve the site plan for restaurant at the southeast corner of State Road 580 and Bayview Boulevard. This is a Snyder hearing. I'll turn it over to our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Before we get started, I want to make sure that if there was any ex parte contact by any of the council members with the applicant, I need you to let us know that that has occurred tonight. So it's my understanding there are a couple of you have. You need to tell us who you had the contact with and the summary of that conversation so that the rest of the council members will know. So
Start to my right.
I have,
And the context?
yeah, I have contact with Tom.
No, but what was the context of the discussion? So
basically, what was the summary of the conversation?
Just a site plan.
You discussed the site plan with Mr. Adams?
No, with Tom Likens.
Likens? Okay. All right, anyone else?
Me.
Eric?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had.
No.
Eric?
Yes, I met with both Mr. Adams and Mr. Lykin and discussed the process that they've gone through and the permitting process. Not a lot of detail, frankly, on the site plan itself, but that was pretty much the gist of it.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes, I have. I met with both of them.
And?
We talked about the site plan, and they just basically talked about some of the issues they had with the site plan that they were concerned about.
Okay, and I as well talked with Todd, and the context was similar to everybody else's. I really was more just listening about the process and some of the concerns with the process. We really didn't get into any details about the site plan itself and once or don't once. It was more about listening to the process that they went through about the site plan, not any real detail.
My conversation was based on the design of the building.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point, I need anyone that's going to speak on this particular issue to stand up, raise their right hand, and be sworn under oath. Anyone that's going to go ahead and speak. You swear that the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and staff should make the presentation first. Ms. Dauphiné.
Okay, Marie Dauphiné, Planning and Redevelopment Director. This is Adams Restaurant site plan, and it's a variance request included in the site plan. The request is construct a 3,250 square foot restaurant. The variance is to reduce the width of an existing sidewalk, which is 5 feet. The code requires it to be 10 feet, so a variance is required. From the red arrow, you can see the location of the proposed restaurant. It's right on the edge of the CRA on State Road 580. And the property is located in the southeast corner of State Road 580 and Bayview Boulevard. It's another plat of the property. It's approximately 9 platted lots. They're 25 by 100 deep. And there's also a 20-foot alley in the rear of the property. It was previously developed with a single-family home, and it was demolished, so currently it is vacant. So looking at the property from to the west, the southwest, the south, southeast, and the property to the east, that's an office use. Restaurant uses are permitted in the TCCN district, and the floor area ratio is 1.0. The impervious surface ratio is 0.80. The applicant proposes to relocate the existing drive. You can see here the former access was close to the intersection of Bayview and State Road 580, and he's moving it farther away from that intersection, approximately 190 feet. So I think that will be a safer access to the property. The code requires 10 spaces per 1,000 in the code for restaurant use, and that would be 33 spaces. But because this is located in the TCCN district, there's 10% reduction, so 29 spaces are required, and he has provided 29 spaces. Whoops, excuse me. The variance in the sidewalk width, as I said, there's an existing 5-foot wide sidewalk along Bayview and State Road 580. The code in the TCCN district requires a 10-foot wide sidewalk, but staff feels there's no really need to increase the width of the sidewalk at this time. So we're recommending approval of the variance request. These are just some elevations of the building. So it's architecturally compatible with the CRA. It's a 1-story, but it appears to be a 2-story. There's like a tower feature. Earth tones with decorative awnings are provided. There's another elevation. That's the dumpster location closure, and that's an aerial view. So the staff recommendation is we're requesting approval of the site plan and the variance contingent on, first, a recycling enclosure be added adjacent to the trash enclosure, and second, the applicant shall be responsible for replacing 2 of the off-street drive pipes along the northerly side of the Dartmouth Avenue as directed by the city. So I would like to submit the staff report into the record, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Any questions of staff?
I do.
Okay.
On the site plan, can you take it back to the building itself? Okay, there.
Yeah.
Is this, when you recommend your agreement on this, is that with the building as we see it here?
Architectural, yes, it's
okay, now
similar to this. I mean, you know, it's going to have the awning, it's going to have the earth tones, the tower, etc.
Okay, so if they want to put it, if they want to move it and put the windows on the Bayside side, on the Bayview side, that's okay?
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And put the tower on this corner?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no issue with that, no.
Basically front it towards Bayview and 580. Okay.
It's up to the applicant.
And relocate. I think there was some discussion about that. I had it with Bruce about relocation of the entrance from the northeast corner to the northwest corner of the property, I guess.
The only reason we even would be interested in where the location of the door is, it's actually the parking area. So you have ADA requirements, you have like
distance.
Yeah, handicap parking space, so you have to have a clear path to the door. So if he has 4 doors, that's fine. If he has 1 door, that's fine. Okay. As long as, you know, somebody in a wheelchair can access that without, you know, going through traffic or parked cars or whatever.
You good, Jerry?
That's fine.
Anybody else?
As long as we agree that can be, the building can be reconfigured there.
And as with any site plan, the only time it would require to come back is if there's a drastic change in the site plan.
It doesn't really make any difference to us how he, you know, orientates it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions of staff? The applicant is here.
They have the opportunity to present their application at this point.
Go ahead.
Sir, if you could state your name and your address, please.
Yes, Mike Palmer, I'm the engineer of record, 3000 Gulf to Bay, Clearwater. We have reviewed the staff comments, and we're in general agreement with everything that's in the report. The only condition that we're asking to be removed is the drainage culverts that you're asking to be replaced on Dartmouth. We ran the pre and post development calculations. We're showing that with the pond and the retention that we're discharging the same amount that we were previously, so pre and post development discharge is the same. So I think the developer is just asking that we get relief from the installation of the culverts.
I did hydraulic engineering for years and years and years, and I know that probably, I don't know how long ago how old are those driveways, if you had to guess?
I don't really know. It could be 20, 30 years.
And my guess is they probably came in, dropped some 4 or 6 inch pipes in there and paved over. I know. The question becomes is, you know, can a downstream handle it? I know the pre and post is the same, but right. Was it failed before? You know, I mean, that's kind of the question. We don't want to make a problem worse or potentially perceived as worse. That, oh, you know, hey, once that thing went in, all of a sudden we started flooding. So I think that's the concern that we have is doing that. Is that something that the client is not willing to do? Or, I mean, that's I think our stance on that is that it's probably not adequate. If you were to run a model through that, you would probably find that they're not sized properly.
Is it something that could be looked at a little closer during the building permit process?
This is not the time to negotiate
No, I know.
this.
Yeah.
This is the time to approve the application, approve it with conditions, or deny it.
Okay.
So if they have issues that they want to deal with staff with, they can do that afterwards. But this is what is before you tonight.
Sure.
And it's not to change it all, you know, unless you want to do it with conditions. So,
Well, when it's appropriate, I'd like to redirect a question to staff as to why it's in there.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns with the?
I don't believe so. I think everything else we're in general agreement with.
Okay, and I think you heard the discussion about the orientation of the building and
Yes,
things like that.
yes.
So you're comfortable with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Staff? Oh, you're here somewhere. Frank?
I need to swear him in. He wasn't sworn. Frank, you weren't sworn in, were you? You swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
You could give us kind of the background as to the.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Frank Edmunds, Interim Public Works Director. On this particular issue, if you recall from the site plan, there is a retention pond being proposed as part of the project on the north side of the site and adjacent to 580. The pond is retention, so it's going to collect stormwater until it reaches a certain elevation. Then it will be discharged through a pipe underground across the subject property, easterly along the city's alleyway to Congress. It's then going to be directed to flow in an existing ditch on Congress. In our preliminary review, the pre-development condition is in fact that the drainage from the site does flow southerly, but then it appears that it is split somewhat to Bayview and to Congress, whereas now this flow is going to be directed to Congress in an existing ditch, which is a little unusual. Our preference obviously would have had it directed into an existing closed drainage system, but nevertheless, when looking at the properties that are downstream from that discharge point on Congress, it goes south to Dartmouth and then west along Dartmouth to Bayview. There are two existing driveways, and I believe they both have 2 6-inch diameter culverts under their driveway. We are most concerned that in the event of a significant weather event like the one we just had, and there is a discharge, an additional discharge into the public rights-of-way, it is going to cause problems with those driveways. Our recommendation is to have that addressed as a part of this project and not wait until it's a problem.
Do you know proportionately how much of the site went to Bayview and how much of it went the other direction? So you're saying basically a split?
It was split in our view, in our review, it is split. I cannot give you a percentage of that split.
But half, or is it like more, 91, 10 the other, or is it?
You could say it's 50-50.
Okay.
It flows in each direction. It may actually be 40-60.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
And to that point, are these the first two inlets or crossings that this water would encounter on that street?
There's actually 2 driveway culverts that will need to be examined by the city and potentially replaced as part of this effort.
2 additional?
There's 2 sidewalks at Congress and Dartmouth, each having, I think, a 6-inch diameter pipe that most likely will need to be replaced.
Okay. And I guess the question is, I don't know, what size pipe did you indicate? Did they indicate what size pipe?
It looks to me like 6-inch.
No, what the replacement pipe would be?
The discharge, the current discharge, the proposed discharge is a 15-inch diameter pipe.
And can the ditch and driveway accommodate a 15-inch and still meet clearance and cover? And
part of our review and our suggestions to community development is at time of building permit application, we'll have that information available.
Because if the ditch isn't, sized right, you can't, it doesn't matter how big a pipe you put in.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I got a question. If he goes down Bayview, and when it goes down Bayview, that catch basin there goes underneath Bayview to a huge ditch. Now I can't remember. Do we have ditches on Dartmouth?
Yes.
We have ditches on Dartmouth.
Shallow.
So that water is going to go to a ditch, no matter which way it goes. And the ditch that goes underneath Bayview West, that's a huge ditch. It takes a lot of water. Now we have seen that where it was running like a river. I mean, in a big event. We didn't have a big event 2 days ago. It was an infant, really, to what we have had. But no matter where it goes, it's going to go into a ditch, right?
Not necessarily.
It's going to go and then go into a ditch.
If the on-site drainage, rather than being directed to Congress, be directed to Bayview, there may be an enclosed system in Bayview that it could be attached to. And we're not suggesting that. What we're suggesting is try to work with the design as prepared, and that causes, illustrates a discharge into a city street that will have subsequent impacts downstream to two existing driveways.
So what we're concerned about is two driveways, right?
That is correct.
And what, two culverts underneath those two driveways will solve the problem?
It certainly will address it. Certainly if there's a discharge from the subject site, replacement of those two culvert features will be an improvement.
Is that what you're asking for? Is the two culverts to be?
Yes.
The two driveways?
Sized appropriate, to size them appropriately.
Sized appropriately, that's correct.
But that's all?
Yes, sir.
Nothing with a catch basin or anything?
No, sir.
It's just the culvert underneath those two driveways. That's what you're asking for?
That is correct.
Okay.
I have a question of the applicant. Just I wanted to confirm, I know you said the pre-post was equal. Do you concur that the flow is split? And is it pre-post in the direction of the discharge, or is it pre-post total?
No, it is split, and we looked at that.
Okay.
And proportionally, it's flowing pretty close to what it is today. We did also contact, we're gonna have to go through DOT. So as you know, DOT makes you run
the battery of
gazillion storms. And every storm passed through the system in pre and post condition, because you have to match storm for storm. So it's not just one particular storm it's working for a whole array.
Well, you had made a mention about, you were kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't really want to build a new catch basin or anything to a catch basin. According to him, there is no work to be required on a catch basin. It's just two pipes underneath two driveways, right?
Correct, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
So now is the opportunity for anybody in the public that wishes to speak, has the opportunity to step forward, be sworn under oath, and then speak. Since there is no one, city can summarize.
Right.
Do you have anything else? Okay. Subject to the two conditions you say, okay. And sir, do you have any other summary that you want to give? Okay. Okay, so now it's back before the council for consideration.
For discussion purposes, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let me just make sure, was that staff recommendation with the two conditions? Whoever made the motion?
With the culverts
And
the variance for the sidewalk?
And the sidewalk, correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And the second, based on that?
Yes.
Correct, okay. Now discussion?
So the motion
is to approve the site plan with the two variance requests from staff.
Which they would be required to do.
And the one variance is for the sidewalk, and the other variance is for two driveways.
Approximately 15-inch culverts and pipes underneath.
I need to clear that up. Staff recommendation that is in the report that's in front of you is that staff recommends approval of the site plan contingent upon the following conditions. Number one, a recycling enclosure to be added adjacent to the trash enclosure. And two, the applicant shall be responsible for replacing two off-site drive pipes along the northerly side of Dartmouth as directed by the city. And in addition to that, there is a request for a variance from 10 feet to 5 feet for the width of the sidewalk. So it's 3 items that staff is recommending approval on contingent.
There was no discussion about the recycle. Is that still an issue or no? It's not an issue?
It's not an issue. The plan does reflect a waste enclosure that will accommodate trash as well as recycling.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So, scratching that. So is that, you made the motion, is that still acceptable?
Yes.
As he read it? Second? Okay.
Okay.
Now discussion.
Can I ask the applicant one other question?
That's up to you, Mayor. We've closed
Yeah.
the public hearings.
Is this how you understand it now?
Yes, it is.
And you still have objection?
No, at this time, we do not.
Fine.
Debbie?
I have a question. When can we discuss tenant use? I mean, being a restaurant, I had concerns about it being a residential area. You know, if it's, I thought maybe it was a brunch place, but I mean, I'd be concerned if it was an evening restaurant or something of that nature.
Well, I think it's zoned for it, so I mean, at that point, it's not really a...
This is a site plan approval, and
Yeah, I mean,
I think it
that's why
meets the zoning requirements, correct?
I mean, I'm just curious because I'm sure there's probably some
What did you
residential.
call it, a grunge place?
No, a brunch place.
Oh, I thought you said a
I'm
grunge
saying
place.
If there's homes nearby and it's open from 9 to 2, that's different than a restaurant that's open till 11 o'clock at night that maybe has music or, you know what I mean? That's why I bring up the point about tenant use. I don't know if we can address that now or who the proposed
I don't think
tenant-
that's part of this process.
No, I don't.
When would we discuss that?
If it's properly zoned.
You can't, there isn't
it's
a-
not-
Right.
They're permitted, they have the.
They buy the land with that in mind, so, you know, that zoning...
If you ask for a
that
change,
ship's
then you
sailed.
can discuss it, but if
Yeah, I mean, I
not,
just want to, I'd like to address it because it is in a residential area with homeowners nearby, so I want to make sure we bring that concern up.
Well, it's,
It's not a site plan issue.
Okay.
I mean, Mr. Trask might want to elaborate on it, but it's not related to the issue before you tonight.
Okay.
that's correct.
That was my only real concern. I don't have any issue with the variance.
Vice Mayor?
No, I don't have anything to add.
I'm
The
good.
applicant's good with it.
And I've asked the questions that I had, and I feel comfortable with the answers that I was given, so.
I just think this is a very positive thing for the city of Oldsmar,
There's a roll call.
that whole area. CRA.
It is, yes, it is, because right across the street, there's another vacant area. This may help the other vacant area
It's a roll call, it's not.
to be to have someone in it to buy it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Everybody happy with the answers that they've been given? Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Councilmember Zaracki?
Yes.
Councilmember McKee?
Yes.
Councilmember Beverland?
Yes.
Mayor Beavis?
Aye.
Site Plan 15-02 and Variance 16-06 are approved with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Next is our consent docket. We have a couple of items. Approve the minutes of the March 22nd, 2016 City Council meeting. Second item, select preferred firm and authorize the city manager to negotiate contract for design services for Burbank Road. The next item is approve one-year extension to the RFQ 2014-03 Oldsmar Survey Services Agreement with Suncoast Land Surveying. Next item, approve the RFQ 2016-03 Service Agreement for Harbor Palms Infrastructure Improvements with Jones, Edmunds Associates. And the last item is approve the tentative agenda for June 21st, 2016. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent docket?
I just wanted to mention that you had the tentative agenda, you added that one item that we had previously discussed.
So we're approving it with that addition,
One addition.
with the addition of the speed bumps. Clear on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody wish to pull anything?
No.
Need a
To approve as amended?
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Yes.
I'm
Aye.
excited
Yes.
about Harbor Palms.
Of course you are.
Dan Bohr, there was a Dan Bohr, he would be very happy.
He would.
Yep, Dan and Don would. City of Oldsmar, consider the appointment of Jessica Bennett as a teen member of the Leisure Services Advisory Board. Hello, Jessica.
Hello.
Well, thank you for coming. It's one of the things that we like to do. We like to meet you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you go to school? How old are you? What grade are you in?
I'm 14.
What's your favorite vegetable?
I'm going into 10th grade next year. I go to East Lake High School. I'm really interested in leisure and joining the leisure board.
That's awesome. I think it's important to get our youth involved in as many things as we can in the city. So thank you for that, and good luck at East Lake High School.
I have a question.
Oh, you do?
Do you have some good advice?
Yeah, of course you do.
Yes.
Just say yeah.
I have good advice.
And we're not going to make you sing like we did the last person, so if that's okay. Alice, we want to try and wrap this
Try the
up.
zip line yet?
I haven't. I ought to, though.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So have you been involved in some of the programs that we run right now in leisure services?
Some of them, yeah.
Which ones? Anyone in particular?
Not sure. I haven't been going to too many recently, actually. There were more when I was younger.
School does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we thank you for wanting to get involved. Any other questions? If not, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. You're on.
Thank you, George.
Thanks.
Thank
Busy.
you. Thank you.
Next is the proclamation for National Garden Week, and I'll go ahead and read that. National Garden Week, whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the planting of seeds, the care of all plants, and the riches of their efforts. And whereas gardeners seek to add beauty, splendor, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives through the growing of herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flower. And whereas gardeners work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiative through innovation and hard work. And whereas gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, that share our world and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology. And whereas gardening furnishes a challenging and productive activity for many citizens, for those just learning as well as those having years of experience. And whereas gardening promotes a healthy lifestyle that lasts a lifetime, helps reduce stress from other areas of our life, teaches that rewards can come from diligent efforts, and whereas gardening enables members of garden clubs across the nation and around the world to make a difference in the communities where they reside and work. Therefore, I, Doug Beavis, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of June 5th through 11th, 2016 as National Garden Week in the City of Oldsmar, and acknowledge the importance of gardening and the numerous contributions of gardeners as an enhancement of the natural environment and beauty of this city. Dated this, the 7th day of June, 2016, Doug Beavis, Mayor, and I see Babe and the ladies are here. The lovely ladies.
As you're walking down there, I want everybody to know to look at these four ladies. There is a lot of Oldsmar history right here and standing right there before us. A lot.
A couple of years, you think?
A bunch of years.
I'm not going there.
She has the most.
Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Betty Ray Maltinas, and I came to Oldsmar in 1949, so I feel like I'm closer to that 100 than any of the rest of you. I'm the president of the garden club here in Oldsmar called Top of the Bay Garden Club. In recognition of gardening and Arbor Day, the club has voted to donate a plant to the library in your name. We also would like to give each of you a card holder that is made of stained glass, made by one of our members, Michelle Piccioni. Deb Whalen, who was in charge of the Arbor Day event, will present each of you with the card holders. We are all proud that we are sending 9 children this year to Camp Wekiva. The camp is run by the Garden Club of Florida, and we are District 8 members. We are paying each fee for each 9 of the children. Most of our clubs in the area only pay half. So I'm going to tell you, we might be a small group, but we're mighty. We want to thank everyone that helped us do that, and we hope that this will help to repay you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I think, Betty Ray, haven't you worked in almost every post office in this town since they were established?
4 of them,
Everyone
yes,
else.
I have.
And
My husband was postmaster in this building,
Yes, he was,
downstairs, and I was clerk, and across the street, in the one building, but I was served as in 4 buildings. The first one was like an open air like St. Petersburg has, because when you came to the window, you were outside, I was inside. I carried a little kerosene heater with me all around in there to keep warm.
Thank you.
And Babe built the, no, she built the flea market.
Flea market.
Oh,
yes. And Sandy was she worked for the city and your water department for many years. So even though we're retired,
and tired,
we'll keep busy.
And we have Debbie, she's a transplant
And
from
she's
Dunedin, but she helps
Dunedin,
us out a
yes.
lot.
She's our newest one.
Especially from Dunedin. Want to come get a picture? I know you don't want
Sure.
It's very true.
There is a garden.
Garden. Awesome.
Okay, would you like the proclamation?
I'll go around the other way.
I saw the Maggiano's bag and I thought we were getting leftovers. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Those will be more practical.
Yes, and I probably can't kill it, can I?
No.
I've already killed the plant from, yeah, Oldsmar Elementary, I already killed that plant, so. Next item, City Attorney.
Item number 10 on your agenda is the second final reading and public hearing of ordinance 2016-05. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2016-05, an ordinance declaring the intention of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, to annex certain real property located in Section 22, Township 28 South, Range 16 East, further described as 3159 Phoenix Avenue, parcel number 22 28 16 96660 0110060 into the corporate limits of the City of Oldsmar, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2016-05 by title only.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to address this item? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. I need a motion.
So moved.
A second. Motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
One at a time.
They don't have to be one at a time.
Well, that's the way it works out, though. And Bruce, how many's left over there for us?
I don't know, there's still quite a few.
Well,
Better start knocking on doors.
but we've got over half of it now, right?
Maybe half of the north side.
Yeah.
We'll never get the other side. I know.
Oh, well, if something happens down there at the old, what you call it?
When he says we'll never
No,
do something.
never. Yeah.
Well, we might. Let's hope.
See, he's already changed his mind from we won't to we might. Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Sedell?
Yes.
Councilmember Zareki?
Yes.
Councilmember Mickey?
Yes.
Councilmember Beverly?
Yes.
Mayor Beavis?
Aye.
Second and final reading of ordinance 2016-05, annexing 3159 Phoenix Avenue into the corporate city limits of Oldsmar is approved with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
And that leads us to our city manager, to my right.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 11, approve license agreement with Tampa Bay Downs for the Centennial Concert. At the last meeting, the council approved the contract with Razor Entertainment for the entertainment. The license agreement with Tampa Bay Downs provides the city the use of the facility the day before the concert, the day of the concert, which is October 1st, and the day after the concert for, setup and takedown and preparations for the concert. The city will retain the ticket sales, parking revenue, and merchandise sales. Tampa Bay Downs will operate all concession food and beverages. So those are kind of quickly hitting, I guess, the highlights. I recommend approval of the license agreement. Also, Margot Flynn, Vice President of Tampa Bay Downs, is here tonight. If you have any questions or comments, I bet Margot can answer them.
Hi, Margot.
I just want to say, first of all, that we're very pleased to be a partner in this event.
Well, thank you, and
very
thank you.
exciting. And in order to do the best job we possibly can for your event, we're having an event for the chamber as practice. So we're excited for both events going on forward. So we look forward to it, and we hope you all are coming out to enjoy, and all the hard work of the Centennial Committee on this. And I think it's been a long 100 years for Dan.
All squunched into one. Well, thank you, and thank you for, being a great partner, as always, not just on the Centennial, but on everything that the city has going on. You're always a great partner for us, so we enjoy it.
Margot has worked with the city for many years on many things. You're right, on many things, even to the point for scholarships for some of the youngsters here in town. And, we have to say that the Downs without Oldsmar doesn't exist, and Oldsmar without the Downs doesn't exist. Because when you say Oldsmar, oh, you mean by the racetrack. Or they say the racetrack, oh, you mean in Oldsmar.
Yeah.
So, thank you for everything, Margot.
Thanks.
Margot,
We go by that as well, you're right. I mean, Tampa Bay Downs is located in Oldsmar, as far as we're concerned. We do have a legal address that's Tampa, but we consider ourselves
That's fine.
Oldsmar.
We'll share.
Margot, I just want to say thank you for all your help. Every time I go to your office, you're always kind and you welcome me into your home. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
See how I am on October 2nd.
But thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Luckily, we don't have to do this again for 100 years, so it'll be.
No, but our 100th anniversary is coming up in 10 years, so.
Yes, you do.
We're gonna get tied on.
February 1926.
That's right.
Oh, my God. Why does that not shock me?
Mr. Mayor, would you like a motion on that note?
I can't challenge him on it. Yeah, motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. The only question I have, I knew it was about ticket sales. Are we planning on charging for parking, or do we?
We're still working on the parking. Margot and I talked about doing the front parking area as a VIP parking, valet parking. We're still working on that, but we're looking at ticket sales going on Thursday at noon.
Okay, good. Perfect. Awesome. We hope it's a great success. Thanks to everybody for all their work. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Thank you. Thanks, Margo.
Thank you. Mayor and council, the next item, approve work order with Stantec for updating Canal Park Master Plan. The cost of the work is $74,000. As I discussed recently at the council planning conference, this is a planning endeavor. It does not include the design of any improvements. It includes review of existing programs and facilities at Canal Park, and also the existing user groups, that being Little League, football, soccer, and BMX. And
Jerry, excuse me, Bruce.
In section 4 is a list, I think, of about 11 different items that we've asked them to specifically look at in terms of existing facilities or facilities that may be added. Of course, that doesn't mean that these things will wind up being in the new master plan, but I think we've included things that, at least we need to consider for the future use of the park over, a long-term, 10 to 20-year period. The agreement has a schedule concluding with a final presentation to City Council in October of this year. Have any questions or comments? I'd be happy to respond to those. I recommend approval of the work order with Stantec for updating Canal Park Master Plan.
This is going to be a good thing.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on this item.
It's just a good thing for it.
Yeah.
And win.
I think it's great to find out really what the potential is for that park, both with the facilities that are currently there and maybe the possible addition of some additional facilities that they're able to identify. And I think the plan is then after that, Bruce, is to take this conceptual plan to Swiftmud and see if we can get them to come off some of that land.
Well, they'll be involved as it goes along. We've had some preliminary discussions with the Water Management District already. As you know, in Canal Park, present developed area is about just over 40 acres, which was given to the city by the Water Management District almost 30 years ago, over 25 years ago. The other 70 to 75 acres, we have a license agreement to use. The current license agreement does not allow permanent structures on those 70 acres. That license agreement expires in 2018 anyway, so we've had some preliminary discussions with the staff at the Water Management District about what new terms we might obtain for use of some
And
of
you're
that
pretty
property.
persuasive.
Well, they've had some leadership changes there too, which I think, and Governor Scott is less stringent, I think, on what Swift-Mud can do with their property. So I think, has it been received well from them?
Well, it's...
Hasn't been shot down, right?
No.
Okay.
I have a question too around when they were going to be talking with the actual people that use the park. You know, I know we talked about that at the priority session, and I was out there the other night for my niece's soccer tryouts, and I saw Dan Belcher, and he said he hadn't, like, they hadn't really heard from anybody, or remember we talked about in the priority session that they were going to be talking to some of the leagues and things that are running there, what the needs were. And I do have to mention that the net thing's a good idea, because that night a couple soccer balls went right off to Tampa Road, you know, with under 13-year-old girls that were doing tryouts. So.
And they probably haven't heard because we're just now approving the work order for Stantec to,
yeah, but
to
I
do.
thought at the priority session, I thought we had said that they were already kind of talking to them, or maybe that was just the plan.
No, they haven't. There'll be a public meeting in July, so
Okay.
it would be, I'd say, in the next 60 days.
Okay, all right, that's all I have.
Quick question is let's just assume that two scenarios. One is with some or all of that 70 acres from Swift-Mud incorporated into it, but is it going to be, that's not dependent, the rest of it's not dependent on that, so that if they say no to that, we still have something that we're going to do with the remaining, so it's kind of a
yes
if-then statement?
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, I would not think that would be one of our best scenarios.
No, but one's not married to the other.
You know, what I would say, that end of the spectrum, we still would need to look at parking and stormwater improvements, improving bicycle and pedestrian access to Woodland Square, things like that.
Okay, good. So they're not really married to each other necessarily, although we would love to have all 70 acres, right?
We would,
yes,
certainly, yes.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, consider revising the 2010 to 2020 Penny for Pinellas list of projects. Last month at the Capital Improvements Budget Work Session, there was some discussion about the current Penny project list and the money. The current list of projects was actually developed 10 years ago. In 2006, for a referendum was held, I believe, in 07 or 08 for the current 10-year Penny program. It runs through this current one, 2010 to 2020. 10 years ago, when the county was estimating the proceeds over this 10-year period, it was estimated that Oldsmar would get about $17 million. Well, of course, that was before the Great Recession. Now we have 6 years of history and 4 years to go on this particular Penny program, runs through 2020. And we estimate that over the 10 years, the total amount we'll receive is between $11 and $12 million. So there's not enough money to do all the projects that were on this list from 2006. My recommendation this evening is that you delete one project. It's referred to under transportation as the Shore Drive East improvements. And
Do you need a motion for that?
Take it a second.
Oh, I guess you were done talking.
Well, that's really, I think, there may be some changes. You know, this part runs for 4 more years, so I'm not saying that there won't be any more during that period of time, but for tonight, I think that would be an appropriate action to take.
And I think the discussion at the workshop was that we continued to push this program out further and further and further. And as you indicated, you know, we're probably going to get 11 million of the 17 million. So we've got to dwindle our wish list down. And so I think it makes sense rather than to just keep kicking it down the road.
And Mayor, I'm totally sure that we would get a lot of backing from people on Shore Drive East if we eliminate them.
Okay.
I think there'll be a lot of complaining about it.
Not a lot of pushback.
I agree with you, Jerry.
I got a motion. I don't have a second.
He gave it to you.
Oh, he did? Okay.
I give
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. 5-0. Anything else?
That's all I had. Thank you.
City Clerk?
Anything?
Thank you. City Council, next item is the selection of voting delegate to the Florida League of Cities Annual Conference. Typically, it's the new guy on the block, which is the guy down on the end, but typically that would require you to physically go to the meeting, so.
I vanquished that, thank you. I've been there enough.
I'll do it.
We knew you would.
Does that require a motion?
Last year and I loved it.
As everybody's sitting on their hands.
Does that require a motion?
Quickly.
I move that we make Dan our designated.
I'll second that one.
I will third it.
Can we just make him the designate for the rest of my time?
I got free breakfast last year. It was fun.
Oh, it's all about the food for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
coffee too.
Motion and a second, and I think this is the first time we've had somebody actually volunteer to be the second time.
In a row.
So.
We've all done it once.
Once.
Normally. But,
I am so willing to share with you, Dan. It breaks my heart, but I'm willing to share.
I'm ready.
Good, good. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor for Dan Saraki being our
Yes.
voting delegate? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, team.
Did you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Next is comments by council members. We'll start to my right with Councilmember Beaverland with the new haircut
Yeah. I'm closer to you, so.
and a tie.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. My wife's going to really appreciate that. A great memorial service. It was touching. It was something that the city has done for 20 years. And I think that is incredible. And we want to thank all the city employees for jumping in after this rain and cleaning up. Thank you all. And thank you for who you are.
Thank you. Gabby?
I just had a few things. I will not be here for the next council meeting on the 21st. I will be out of town for a work conference in Texas from the 18th to the 23rd. So I let Bruce know, but
Okay.
I just need to let you guys know that I'll be absent. And the zip line tour, I thought that was great. If you haven't gotten out to do it, the bridge, the suspension bridge is beautiful. I mean, it just makes you appreciate the bay and the water that we have here in the park. So I don't think it was too scary. I think we all enjoyed it.
Oh.
Some of us more so than others.
90% enjoyed it.
And when I was at Canal Park recently, I thought Dan Belcher, when I was talking to him, he had a good idea, and I don't know if this is something, I mean, obviously it would be up to probably Empower Adventures, but he said, why don't we mention it to the Port of Tampa? Because, you know, when you do a lot of cruises and things, they always do excursions, and he thought that might be good visibility for visitors, you know, into Tampa Bay for the port, the cruise ships to help, you know, drive.
I think the Visit St. Pete Clearwater people probably will be
thinking about
addressing them as well.
And then lastly.
And TIA for people that fly in,
Yeah.
too.
Lastly, because it's, I can't do this without this, is June 10th is Jason Schwab's birthday, but it's also Linda's birthday, because I remember they share a birthday. So happy early birthday to Linda Norris and to Jason. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just have a couple items real quick. I think that the Memorial Day service and the extra effort that our staff puts in to go and work on the weekends and do all that, and the advisory board, I thought it was a very nice ceremony. And I like the idea that was brought before us tonight, you know, and I think that the advisory board, I would expect, will be very responsive to that, you know. So thank you for that. But it was a touching event. I also I too want to kind of echo something that Jerry said, and that is all the stormwater comes in, and you know, depending on where you live will depend on how bad it was. If you live on the bay, I watched my neighbor's house almost flood, and you know, some of you saw the pictures I put up where it destroyed my dock.
Dock, yeah.
Yeah, where's your dog?
Again. But, you know, while we're out there, along comes fire rescue, and safety is always out there, and they're patrolling, waiting for something, you know. I mean, it's just I thought about that after they left and was thinking, you know, they're just right on top of it. And that's the way the city operates. And it was good because I was out in the bay over by the park where I know I was not supposed to be, I think, because I was looking for deck boards off my dock, digging them out of the bay. And there's a whole crew of, and it was early too. A bunch of folks over there already cleaning it up all over it. It's just, I think it's, to me, it's just one of those things that echoes the standards that we have. And so anyhow, I just wanted to compliment the city staff on that. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to talk about the Centennial Concert. Thank you, Margot. Again, very excited about the opportunity of having our concert here at the Tampa Bay Downs. The City Council, we have boxes 41 and 42 reserved for us, for you and a guest. So we'll be attending the concert. So Jerry, save October 1st. I want you there.
Yes, sir.
Doug, thank you for bringing up Florida League of Cities, Suncoast League of Cities. I'm honored to be the advocate for the city of Oldsmar.
Glad to have you.
I'm looking forward to working with the small businesses, large businesses, and the citizens of the city of Oldsmar or any concerns they have. When I go to Tallahassee, believe it or not, I have never been there in my entire life, and I'm looking for the opportunity to work with the Senate and be the advocate for the city of Oldsmar, so I'm excited. Thank you for that opportunity. And then other than that, I wanted to talk about the zip line. When I got up those stairs, I thought I was gonna die. My knee was giving out, and then when Ann went, I took that video of Ann, I was petrified. But as soon as I went,
He was, because he was standing
he was behind me, and I was petrified. I really was. I was trying not to act afraid, but I really was. The second time,
better.
The third time, Eric knows, I told him I was going home with Bruce.
Now you tell me.
And I said, I'm not going home. I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. It's a great adventure. I tell everyone to try it. It's well worth taking the zip line for a try.
But they could have told us in the very beginning about the steering.
Yeah.
Because I didn't hear him say that. And so when I decided that I would, since I didn't have a GoPro with me, Gabby, that I would use my phone with one hand and not hold on to it, I didn't realize that I was spinning myself as I'm going down the zip line.
That's where I just came from. You were turned almost completely around.
Let me just come to the platform.
The only thing I think when I go again, I'm going to wear gloves. I think I want to wear gloves next time. That's it. Because you see how those guys were stopping with the glove?
Oh, you don't stop like that.
Well, you can.
No, you wouldn't.
I couldn't stop. I almost smashed into the pole. I was going so fast.
You weren't.
I mean, you could, but that's the old.
You could.
You were laughing at me because I almost hit that pole.
Yeah.
I hit the pole. I could have grabbed it with my feet.
Personal. I would have laughed if anyone else else did too.
Dan, stick with them stopping it for you.
Yeah,
don't you get involved. That's all we need you to lose an arm.
There you go. Well, anyways, that's it. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. And before I go, Tom, you had something that you wanted to, I guess, bring up.
Yeah, I have a conflict on the date when we had already scheduled the work session for code enforcement. And although staff could probably do a great job doing it, I really think it's important for me to be there, and I shouldn't be sending another lawyer from a firm doing it.
I wouldn't attend if you weren't there.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd really appreciate it if we could change it. I apologize. I should have caught it on my calendar, but I didn't catch that I had the conflict. I'll be out of town for a couple of days, so.
Just probably more from my knowledge, or maybe the council's knowledge, and I'm fine with it. The reason being is because it's code enforcement and quasi-judicial, and I mean, is that the legal component of everything that goes into the code enforcement?
There's a lot more than that goes into it. I mean, dealing from starting off from the very beginning of each case, when I have the code enforcement officer doesn't know, how a case should be cited, what code violation it actually is. There may be 2 or 3, which is the stronger way that we want to go. Do we give it, a courtesy letter? Do we go right to a notice of violation? Is it a life safety issue?
Okay.
I mean, from the very beginning all the way to the end, when I try these cases before the code enforcement board.
And I think it's important that we understand the code enforcement process in its entirety. And so, did you have some dates? Do we have some dates?
We had an alternate date from before of July 12th, so I was going to put that out as hopefully
it's good for me.
Possibility.
When is it?
July 12th, Tuesday.
At what time?
4 PM is what we had before.
That works for me.
I'm good on the 12th. Tom?
I'll just have to get another meeting covered.
Hold on a minute. July.
I just like the Tuesdays because they seem to,
I'll be here.
it's not a council meeting, right? No.
Can you do July 12th, Tom?
Yeah, I'll get someone else to cover the other.
What
meeting.
other date did you have?
I had other dates. I didn't go over them with Bruce, though, and they're mostly on Fridays. And I know that that's probably not a good thing here.
I'm busy, I think, every Friday for the rest of the year, I think.
Wednesday.
Which Friday did you have? I think I'm busy. What one?
On a Friday.
Also,
Fridays in
Wednesday,
the
July
morning?
the 6th, and Thursday, July the 7th.
I could, I concur with Gabby. I could do in the morning. I'd rather not do it in the
Fridays.
afternoon, but
July 6th and 7th is good for me, too.
I can do it anytime.
any thoughts about
Long
doing
as-
it in the
long
morning?
as it's after 10
6 and
o'clock.
It
7,
opens a
I have
lot
a
of stuff for
workshop.
me if we can do it in the
Could work.
morning. I just thought it was always going to
So-
be the afternoons.
What Friday were you thinking of, Tom? The 6th and
July
7th?
June 24th, July 1st, July 8th, July 15th.
I have We Mean Business on the 24th. What was the other?
The 1st, July 1st.
I'm good on the 1st.
What's wrong with the Wednesday?
Gabby's not
You
here.
can't do it?
Workshop, the 6th
And my
7th.
Wednesdays are typically, I got PSTA
I could do the
legislative.
morning of the 1st. I mean, it's
I
a
can do the morning
holiday
of the
weekend,
1st.
but-
I can't. That's 4th of July weekend.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to do that.
What was the next?
July the 8th.
Unless I have.
I can do July 8th.
Yeah.
July 8th.
I think I can make that work.
July 8th, is that
July 8th.
working?
Look at Jerry checking his schedule down there.
I mean,
Morning, like July 8th in the morning? Yeah,
Yes.
that'll work.
No,
for
it's
me.
going to be an evening workshop on Friday night.
Happy hour.
okay, what time,
I
Tom?
knew you would go
9-ish?
there. You
Okay.
took the bait. I'm
9-ish?
sorry.
I can do that.
Does that work, Bruce?
Yeah.
9-ish?
9 o'clock?
Whoa, in the morning?
Well,
No, 9 at night, we're gonna meet.
July the.
it's a
oh,
Friday.
Oh, July the
Eighth,
8th, fine,
Friday.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, July 8th.
Yeah, I'll be finished.
9-ish.
I'll be finished. by
Wait,
Is that an anniversary date or?
no, I know those dates.
Wait, July 8th.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just thinking that, you know, one of the purposes of that meeting was also to get some public feedback. And I just wonder by scheduling it for Friday, 9 AM, if that doesn't,
Well, I mean, if they gotta take off at 4.
Or doesn't-
Either you
yeah, I
take
mean-
off early or you go in late.
fair enough.
I mean, we are trying to juggle, a bunch of different schedules, so.
Well, it's very important that the attorney's there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, so the 8th at 9,
Friday, July 8th,
not the 9th at 8, but then 8th at 9.
9 AM.
You don't want to do Saturday at
Yeah,
8 a.m.?
I'll be on the radio.
Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
working with you on that.
Thank you. Also, I want to say the memorial service was excellent. I heard a lot of great comments about it, and I heard comments to the point of how they love not only the ceremony and the message and the theme, but and without saying anything about other ceremonies throughout the Pinellas County area, that ours has a really nice hometown feel to it because it's in a neighborhood, in a park, on the water. And it was great to sit there and as Eric and I did, you hear the people singing underneath the tent, the Star Spangled Banner, and it just echoes out of there like a subwoofer. And then to see the people off to the left and to the right sitting under the Mother Nature's shade trees and bringing out the families and setting up blankets. And I need to make sure that I make that point because it's important that that we acknowledge the parents for bringing out their kids, and letting them know, because that was the message. That was part of the message that I had was, it's okay to, have a cookout, and it's okay to, have a day off, but, this is why, and it's so great that those people bring their kids there, so.
It was one of our largest in attendance.
I think it was probably the biggest, hot dog consumption was at its highest, I think, so, although that could be Siraki that did that, yeah, so. That's why I'm stuffed a couple in his pocket. Zip line was great. I've ridden it 3 times so far. I did it when Channel 8 was out there. And it's really they are just, over the top about the response, social media, and the media outlets in general that have really come out and written great articles. Jeff's written it. I topped you. I wrote it 3. You're writing it 2. So, and the newspapers that have covered it. And Piper wrote it. She was petrified like you. And it's really for those that don't know, and Bruce knows, it's really a couple of different experiences. It's the height issue. It's the climbing issue. And then you've got the 3 zips over the trees, but then you got the zips over the water and the 200-foot bridge, which is that's a different animal into itself when you're crossing that 200-foot bridge. And when I went the second or third time, which I don't think he told us when we went, he goes, there are 3 boards, and if you walk down the middle, it's very stable. But if you walk on the sides like this, it's very unstable. Or if when your friend in front of you is getting really nervous and you start walking on the sides like this, it starts shaking it for them. I certainly didn't do that to the person in front of me, but I thought about it. So, but no, it's a great experience for those that haven't. zipontampabay.com, and it's about, depending on how many people are in your group, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hour experience. And they've started work on the, although it probably got stopped with the rain, on the adventure park. So I think they have a date of like July 12th or 13th that they've already got a group scheduled to use the park. So they need to get on it and get it done. So I don't have anything else. And, you know, thanks to everybody for adjusting the schedule. I think it's important that Tom's there. And that's it, if nothing else. Meeting adjourned.